Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to dive back into Cochrane Alberta's real estate market and see what's happening for the month of March and leading into the month of April of 2025. And before we jump into the video, if you're watching this video as it goes live here today on April 2nd, I hope you've all been safe on the roads. Obviously, Calgary and area got another big dump of spring snow, and the roads have been quite bad. And so I just want to say that if you're in that area, in Cochrane, in Calgary, I hope you're safe out on those roads and are enjoying our fourth little burst of winter here. Also, with yesterday being April 1st, we did see the carbon tax, at least the consumer side of it, disappear here. And the big identifier there is we saw an 18 cent per liter roughly here in Alberta decrease in our gas prices at the pumps. Now, hopefully that stays consistent and doesn't return in some other fashion. But as of right now, we are seeing that break on that carbon tax. Now, homeowners are also going to see a very big change where that consumer carbon tax is also no longer going to be applied to your natural gas bill. So going into, April, May, June, July, and into the summer months, while yes, your usage does go down, we are still going to see a significant reduction in the price of our natural gas heating bill. That'll be a welcome change for consumers here. As we jump into the markets and how things have been performing over the last month and what to look forward to into the month of April, I think the big overlying thing here is how the impending tariffs later this afternoon from the United States is going to play a part in the market. Right away, we've seen a bit of a slowdown. Obviously, everything is really uncertain at this point, and the markets are following suit. Now, the big indicator that the markets are kind of holding steady and really waiting to see what this uncertainty with the tariffs brings is the sales numbers. Now, like I mentioned in the previous video, I said that the spring market may be a little bit slow to get going. And that's, I think, really highlighted here by the sales numbers. Calgary's sales numbers for the month of March, year over year, were down 19%. Airdrie and Okotoks also followed suit, with Airdrie being 21% below last year's levels in sales and Okotoks being 18% below last year's levels in sales. Now, the big outlier there, and this is important if you are a seller here in Cochrane, is that Cochrane's sales numbers remained completely consistent, with 96 last year and 95 this year, a 0% change. So Cochrane is, again, seeing a little bit of protection from those bigger changes of the larger center of Calgary, being that it is obviously the closest town to the mountains other than Canmore, giving you an easier access out to Canmore while still only being about 25 minutes from Calgary. Now, with the slowdown in sales and that market uncertainty, what that's really done is affected the growth of the benchmark prices here. So in the past, we've been seeing, in the spring market of last year and through the summer, we were seeing double-digit growth on the benchmark price month to month. And last year in March of 2024, we saw an 11% growth year over year. This year, things have slowed quite a bit, and we've seen just a more modest growth of only 5% year over year in that benchmark price. So with that decrease or flat level of sales, that slowing of the price growth to a more modest level, again, is highlighting that this spring market, while yes, we are in spring, is kind of hesitating to get going here. A lot of that is really due to the uncertainty in the market and seeing what is going to happen in the coming days. Obviously, a big announcement this afternoon. And then in 2 weeks' time here on April 16th, we'll get the next rate announcement by the Bank of Canada. And I really think that's going to have a lot to do with what happens here in the next few days with the tariffs, retaliatory, or just the ones coming from the United States. With that being said, obviously we have two new communities in Cochrane. I think everybody here knows about South Bow Landing and the big, large-scale community that's going to be. Greystone, Heartland, and Sunset Ridge are still building. That final phase in Heritage Hills is still building. And then there's another new community coming to Cochrane here in West Hawk, which is going to be located just on the east side of Heritage Hills, north of Highway 1. So again, that's another small little community. It only looks to be about 5 to 6 phases at this point. And that is going to start building here now with, I think, a few of the show homes under construction as we speak. With those homes being built, we are still seeing a growth in inventory in Cochrane. In fact, year over year, Cochrane's inventory levels and month of supply both followed suit, being about 76% higher than last year. So we're seeing a growth in inventory levels. We're seeing a more balanced condition in the market where we have months of supply well over 2, which is leading more to long-term trends, giving buyers on the market more homes to choose from. And with a slower or at least a level of sales, buyers are having the option of going in and offering under list and being accepted. So a little bit of a change to last year's spring market where everything was selling at or above list price. We are seeing a little bit of a opportunity now to get into Cochrane and the surrounding areas around Calgary and negotiate under list on some of these homes. So that's a very positive sign for buyers in the market right now who have been waiting to get into the market. They've been watching mortgage rates drop and worried about how those mortgage rates dropping may affect the market. Now, Cochrane's growth of monthly supply being up 76% seems like a really big number. That's a lot of month of supply change. But if we look at Calgary, Airdrie, and Okotoks, Cochrane's growth of supply does not seem that big. Now, these next numbers are pretty crazy, but Airdrie saw a growth in the month of supply of 208%. So there's a lot of homes for sale on the market in Airdrie, and with their lower number of sales last month and the growth of the month of supply, Airdrie is going to see, again, probably a very stagnant, if not just slight growth in price leading into April, and it is turning into a much more balanced market currently. Okotoks saw a rise of about 118% of its month of supply, and Calgary followed right in the middle at about 147% increase in months of supply. And with that supply growth in Calgary, in Cochrane, in Airdrie, and in Okotoks, the market here is seeing a little bit more of a leveling. So yes, like I mentioned, we are in April, we're in March, we just passed March, the spring market should be in full swing, but all of those are kind of, again, I'm going to reiterate this, pointing to a little bit more of a slowed entry into that spring market and into those summer months where we normally see the peak activity. And that could give buyers an opportunity to jump into the market now, find a home because there is more homes on the market, shop around a little bit more, and find a home potentially under list price, which is something that buyers haven't been able to do outside of those winter month periods and the slow times in the last few years. So if you've been sitting on the fence, wondering if now is a good time to buy, only you can answer that question. Obviously, you'll hear the age-old question or the age-old thing from real estate agents that it's always a good time to sell and always a good time to buy. Really, that's driven by you and your life circumstances. But if you have been waiting for an opportunity to see more homes and not necessarily worry about getting into multi-offer situations and having to compete with other buyers for the same property, this might be a good time to get in. Obviously, if the economy does take this little bit of a dip and slow down, that is typically followed by a period of growth afterwards. So taking advantage of that slow period might be something that would be worthwhile to you. Hopefully this little update on the market you find helpful. Keep an eye out on the channel here. We have community tours coming from, I'm going to do South Bow Landing here coming up. We got Montera coming up. We're going to talk about West Hawk coming up. And then we're going to dive in and do a little bit more content here also around home inspections and what to expect, mortgages and what that entails in 2025, and give you as the buyer or seller some extra information on what to expect when you're making deals here in this real estate market, not just what the market's doing and the community. So me on the channel in the next little bit here, I'm going to try to add some more value to you as the buyer or seller in this market to help you be more prepared for your real estate deals moving forward. Thanks. Stay safe out there. Fourth winter should be over here shortly. The temperatures at the end of this week are looking great, and I will catch you in the next one.